barrel of that gun. Robbery suspect.
Two young men rummaging
An incredible robbery at a museum.
Robbers can be pretty reckless, but things can get even crazier when their plans fall apart.
The suspects quickly fled the scene in a gray car.
In this video, I will take you on a wild ride through the 35 robberies that went wrong.
You become the world's most wanted criminals.
Let's get started. Number 1. Phone robbery. Went wrong. In the video, the thief disguises himself as a buyer in front of the store owner.
Customer browsing through the phone market.
He then started comparing two phones with each other. Once he saw his chance to get away, he rushed towards the door, but thankfully, the door was locked from the inside, trapping the thief as well.
Makes a run for the door, only to find out
The thief, scared and embarrassed, calmly walks towards the counter to give back the mobile phones to the owner. The owner was generous enough to let him go. Number 2. Cool cashier. Not afraid of robber. The security footage from the Kansas City. Jimmy John cashier counter shows a guy pulling up at the register with a gun in his hand, acting all thug and gangster.
When a customer pulls a gun on him.
But the cashier, on the other hand, just keeps staring at him like he's not bothered by him in any way. Unfazed, the cashier calmly removes his gloves, opens the cash register, and hands over all the money to the robber. The robber was probably hoping to see some resistance. But what in the world was that? Number 3. Chillest Man ever. The CCTV footage shows a robber barging with a rifle inside the bar.
Neighborhood bar was robbed.
Everyone in the bar was scared to death, but one person didn't even flinch from his seat. Tony Tovar lit up a cigarette and watched the entire scene as if it was some sort of show and he was the protagonist.
Cool as a cucumber as the other patrons at Bierman's bar and...
The robber tries to steal Tony's mobile phone, but he doesn't let him take it, and surprisingly, the robber doesn't even force him. Tony even mocks the robber by asking him to give him a beer, which totally pisses him off. Number 4. Armed drivers versus robbers. The footage is taken from an armored vehicle's dashcam, which was ambushed by another vehicle in an attempt to hijack it. But little did these robbers know that the driver and the guard, sitting in the passenger seat, were both armed and wearing bulletproof vests, ready for such a tricky situation. The person on the steering wheel was an excellent diver, and he quickly reacted as soon as the first few shots were fired. The other guard on the passenger seat loads up his handgun and the rifle for a counterattack. The driver changed lanes and took many turns, but the attackers kept following them and firing at the vehicle. Eventually, these guys saved the day, but we gotta admit those driving skills were just amazing. Number 5. Ramming robbers around. These guys were trying to rob an armored vehicle, but it turned into the biggest fail ever. One of their accomplices was inside the car parked in front of them, but before they could have gotten inside, the armored vehicle charged at them at full speed. The driver then chases the robber inside the vehicle while the other two robbers are left behind. In the hurry, the bag of money was left behind on the ground. The cash transit vehicle then returned, thinking that it had managed to scare away the robbers. Just as the vehicle stopped beside the cash lying on the ground, the robbers returned to the scene for more action. The two robbers on the ground approached the bag, but the armored vehicle rammed into their vehicle, destroying the window as debris fell on the ground. I mean, if you're going to rob, at least know how to quickly get into the car. Number 6. Gates save the day. The footage captures a broad daylight heist, allegedly carried out by 3 men, but only 2 of them were caught in action.
To pull off a brazen smash-and-grab robbery.
The star of the video is this guy who smashes the window of this jewelry store with a sledgehammer. The robbers couldn't even get too many items after smashing the glass, and the safety gate was already lowered. Their greed almost caused one of them to lose his hand, but he was able to free himself. Number 7. Cowboy V Robber. This footage is from a gas pump store and shows a man in a hoodie walking in while cocking his gun. He quickly points his gun toward the cashier and the customer wearing a cowboy hat. The man threatens them, but as soon as he turns his back, the cowboy guy sees his chance and quickly lunges onto the robber from behind. He easily makes the robber drop his gun on the floor. Another guy quickly takes the gun away. The robber is now shirtless and rushes towards the door before 3 men, including the cowboy hero, capture him and later hand him over to the police. Number 8. Spring Breakers, Viz Robbers. This group of friends was having a great time talking with each other at the gas station, but then this robber decided to ruin the quality time. A man walks out of the black vehicle with a gun and starts to threaten the group. The robber uses excessive force, which results in a quarrel between him and the group. The group quickly pins the man to the ground and starts beating him. His partner quickly steps out of the vehicle to save him. The robber pushes the guys off of his partner and starts chasing one of them, but little did he know the group has got hold of their gun. I mean, that was a well-deserved beating. Number 9. Don't mess. This homeowner is a savage and will do anything to defend his house from a bunch of punks. You can see at least 4 men trying to break into a house, and just as they succeed in doing so, several gunshots welcome them.
The suspects quickly fled the scene in a gray car.
The owner was waiting for them to get in. The robbers quickly rushed back to their getaway vehicle, showing their fear. They'll definitely think twice before barging into someone's home. Number 10. Robber Stuck Inside Store. Here's a hilarious robbery gone wrong footage taken from CCTV in a store in Texas. The footage shows a man walking and pulling out his weapon. He quickly goes behind the counter and starts to find the cash and things to steal. The customers and the staff go outside the store, and one of them uses 100% of their brain and decides to lock the robber inside. The robber didn't notice it until he tried to go outside. He started panicking and even used his handgun to break the lock, but failed to do so. He then rams himself into the door, but when he runs out of options, he begs the people outside to let him be free. Thankfully, the cops arrived at the scene and arrested him for good. Number 11. Carjacking Gone Wrong. This footage shows a man in a hoodie approaching a black vehicle, and as soon as he reaches the driving seat, a man rushes out and starts firing gunshots at him before running away to safety. The other angle shows that the man in a hoodie had an accomplice with him who opened the car's door and tried to get inside. That's when the guy in the driving seat got out and fired shots at the intruders. The robbers fired counter shots, but in the end, they had to run away without taking anything. At the end of the video, you can see the owner still chasing after them. Number 12. Lawn Worker versus Robber. Here's security footage that shows a lawn worker cutting the weeds until he sees a red car carrying robbery suspects. The worker throws his weed eater at the car, which causes the robber to fall to the ground. The worker then picks up his machine and threatens the robber to stay on the ground. The robber starts running, trying to get away from the lawn worker. He then rushes towards the red car and successfully returns, ultimately leading to his escape. Number 13. Taser versus Phone Snatchers. This group in Africa is on a mission to teach mobile phone snatchers a lesson they will remember for life. The video shows a woman intentionally holding her phone out of the window to lure the thieves. And just as a thief tries to approach the car and gets too close to the mobile phone, a man in the back seat quickly tases them with his taser. It's definitely a fun way to bully these criminals. Number 14. Shoplifter Stuck Inside Store. This guy literally arrived with a bag to steal stuff. He casually approaches the fridge, takes out what he needs, and then goes to the shelves and takes out multiple bags of chips. Once he's done shopping, he goes outside the store without paying for anything. You'll be surprised to know this happens quite often in this store. The same person walks in, takes out what he needs, and goes away without paying. The owner is quite pissed off by him. That's why one day, when that man was once again there to shoplift, the owner closed the doors from inside and called the cops on him. When the shoplifter finds out he's trapped inside, he smashes his way through the door. When he fails to do so, he puts everything he stole back in its place and demands the owner let him go, which he refuses to do. The shoplifter kept pounding himself on the door until he was finally able to break through and escape the scene. But before he escaped, he still took off with a bottle of Gatorade with him. Man was committed. Number 15. Homeowner opens fires at 2 thieves. The security footage from this homeowner's garage shows 2 young robbers coming towards his vehicle and rummaging through it for valuables to steal. The homeowner wastes no time and quickly gets his firearm and starts to shoot at them. This caused both thieves to panic and rush towards their getaway vehicle, and before they drove away, one of the robbers even fired countershots at the homeowner. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, and the owner also had to face no damages. Number 16. Home invasion gone wrong. This doorbell cam video shows a chilling scene where these 3 suspects knock at the door of this house. Once the owner opened the door, the men started pushing their way in. 2 of them got inside, while the third one loaded his gun. As soon as the third person went in, the owner decided to fight back with his own firearm, and he fired multiple shots at them. Just as quickly as these robbers invaded the house, they got out much quicker because they had just messed with the wrong person. They quickly got back in their vehicle and drove away. Thankfully, one of them was caught by the police and has been charged with many felonies. Number 17. Robber got ignored. This footage from an Atlanta nail salon is just hilarious. The video shows a robber walking inside the store with his hand inside a bag, which may or may not be hiding a gun inside. He then starts to threaten everyone to get on the ground and him over their money, but nobody cares. They just simply stare at him and eventually ignore him. The robber was confused, and when nobody complied with his order, he simply left the store and walked away. Well, that was embarrassing. Number 18. Woman locked in a vault. Here's another idiot thief who tried to steal from this exquisite jewelry store. The security footage shows the store owner brought the woman to the vault, where they kept their most luxurious items. They made a deal for at least $7 million worth of rings there. The woman then used the materials she had brought with her to wrap the items. She then put the packet inside her briefcase and, with a sleight of hand, swapped the packet for another one with fake diamonds and other items. The owner was not stupid. He knew what was happening, so he sneaked outside the vault, locked the woman inside, and called the cops on her.
Of a lady here who tried to scam us. We locked her in the safe.
She tried to hide the evidence before the cops arrived, but it was of no use. She was not fooling anyone today. Number 19. Trapped inside the store. These guys decided to rob a store, but didn't really weigh all the options and possibilities. They ordered the store manager to close the door so no one could get in, and started asking him where the safe was, and wanted all the Samsung Galaxy mobile phones. They threatened the manager to kill him if he ran away, but that didn't stop him because he managed to escape with one of the female co-workers through the back door. Then they locked the robbers inside the store by closing the shutters on them. They tried their best to escape from the front, but the crowd had already gathered up. They eventually found a toolbox from which they took a wrench, and used it to break a window and escape the scene. However, they were soon arrested and brought to justice. Number 20. Robbery gone. Wrong. This security footage shows a man walking into this store with his gun drawn. He quickly approaches the man behind and starts to pin him down on the ground. But as he is busy bullying, he forgets about the manager on the counter. The manager loads up his gun and fires a single shot at the robber, causing him to lie on the ground. The first victim got a hold of the robber's gun, but no shots were fired as he had already surrendered. Number 21. Robber runs for his life. These guys definitely didn't do their research on how to be a robber. As soon as they approach the man, the guy in the blue shirt also draws his gun and opens fire in self-defense. The robber then started running for his life. He didn't even get the chance to get back in his vehicle. Number 22. Cops came to the rescue. Robbing a cab driver shouldn't even be an option, but this guy took the chance. The robber demands that the cab driver give him all his belongings, but the poor cab driver has nothing because he has just started his day. He gives the robber all the cash he has on him, but begs him not to take his mobile phone.
There's no good phone. I need that for my...
Thankfully, the cops were behind the cab. They noticed the commotion and saved the driver from getting robbed by arresting the suspect on the spot. Number 23. Failed. Robbery attempt at shop. This footage is from a store in Pakistan and shows two men, one wearing a helmet and the other wearing a mask, trying to rob the store. The man in the mask takes out his gun while the one with the helmet goes to the other side of the counter. But before they can steal anything, the heroic store owner starts throwing stuff at the robbers and even fighting against them, making them run away. Number 24. Idiot Greek robbers. This has to be the funniest heist in history. As these three robbers made their way into a Greek museum, one of the robbers couldn't help himself to control his mobile addiction. He kept turning on his mobile until it finally caused the security alarms to go out. They were all immediately surrounded by a bunch of security guards, guns drawn, but even after being caught, they started fighting each other. Maybe next time, they won't take this mobile addict with them on a mission. Number 25. ATM robbery. Fail. This security footage was taken inside an ATM in Pakistan. As this man went to use the ATM, an armed robber walked in and stole his money. The robber even locked the door from inside and continued to loot the poor guy while his partner waited outside on a motorbike. Thankfully, two cops on their bikes pulled up at the ATM and immediately apprehended both men at gunpoint. Remember to lock the doors when using the ATM. Number 26. Brazil robbery. Fail. This group of robbers was all set to rob a jewelry store. The men made their way in and quickly got to work, but little did they know the police would be there within seconds. The cops immediately apprehended the guy in the vehicle, while the men inside the store tried to escape the building by climbing over a guarded wall. But escaping by jumping over the wall was impossible, and after many failed attempts during which they even dropped their gun, they had to give up, leading to their arrest. Number 27. Clumsy robbers. These robbers have to be the clumsiest thieves in the entire world. The security footage shows one of the robbers breaking the window and heading straight towards the TV attached to the wall. As he struggled to get the TV off of the wall, the other two robbers comically fell to the ground. However, with his partner's help, he could detach the TV. Well, I'm not sure if it even works anymore. Before entering the vehicle, they again slipped due to the fallen glass. They're worse than any amateurs. Number 28. Marine versus robber. This Marine is not to be messed with. The footage shows three men entering the store while pointing their guns at the cashier. Before they could do anything, the customer, who was also a Marine, quickly disarmed the robber and pinned him to the ground until the cops arrived. The other two robbers managed to escape. Number 29. Robber drops his gun. Here's another stupid robber who entered the store and went straight towards the counter while threatening the lady behind. But just as he was about to take his gun out, the worst thing happened. The gun fell on the other side of the counter, and before he could climb over, the woman had already picked up the gun. The man quickly fled the scene in extreme embarrassment. Even his pants fell off. Number 30. Homeowner wrestles with robber. This homeowner wrestles the intruder and gets the upper hand on him, even though the robber has a gun in his hand. The owner pins the man to the ground, while his main goal is to get his gun away from him, which he does. And as soon as he gets the gun, he runs outside the garage, where he finally points the gun at the intruder, putting an end to this terrifying event. Number 31. Man takes down armed home invader. The peace of this couple was ruined when this armed robber entered their house. The intruder orders the homeowner in the kitchen to sit down and then points his firearm at the girl. But that's when the man in the kitchen casually walks towards the intruder and wrestles with him to take away his gun. The man didn't let go of his gun, and the intruder dragged him down the stairs while the woman called 911. The owner was finally able to get the firearm, and the funny thing is how the intruder again came to their house casually, asking them to at least give his gun back. But the owner threatened him, causing him to run away, leaving them at peace. Thankfully, he was arrested and sentenced to 11 years in prison. Number 32. Clark versus Robber. This security footage shows how this robber points a gun at this Clark and bullies him. But the Clark isn't going down easily. He starts to fight back and manages to wrestle the gun away from him. The suspect's face was also revealed to the camera, but soon the video cut, and it was clear who won the battle. Number 33. Clark ignores robbers. This security footage at a restaurant shows a man fully dressed in black threatening a cashier to give him all the money. However, the cashier pays no attention to him and keeps on serving the customers, eventually walking away. The robber also walked away as if he had made a joke out of himself. That's it for today, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and ring the bell icon. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.